Hello friends, and welcome to the Merida Bodice vlog. For those of you who might have missed the mock-up to this bodice, which is back there, I have a whole video on that if you'd like to learn about the bodice mock-up and fitting kind of situation. I'll link a video up here and down below for you. So I am making the TV 462 1883 tail bodice. It looks something like this and something like that. I did cut off the tail to make it shorter so it'll go over my overskirts better. So it should be a cool project. I'm making it out of the same black watch fabric that I made the overskirt out of. I also have a video about the overskirt if you're interested in that. And I am really excited about this because this bodice is something I've been wanting to work on for quite some time. Aside from cutting off the bottom to a shorter amount, I'm also going to lower the neckline just a little bit and make possibly one adjustment to one of the shoulders, which seems to sit a little bit high on me. I also think I'm not sure if I'm going to do a lining on this one because I don't know that they were expecting a wool that is like the same on both sides kind of thing, so I don't really need one in the tail section. Although maybe I do want to, possibly on the sleeves at least, because they are wool and I don't want to be super itchy, so there might be a lining for that. I would need to choose some lining fabric, which I haven't done yet, so we will consider that. I do have a whole bunch of green fabric that I ordered and did wash, so maybe I'll use some of that. So yeah, I'm gonna get cranking on this. I have one cut of fabric that came from the overskirt being wildly overestimated for the amount of fabric I needed. So I can probably put one of the major sections of this bodice on that and get a huge cut out of that. So then I'm just gonna measure out how much other wool I need, and then I will steam the crap out of it to get it to shrink a little bit and cut that out. So today's goal is doing cutting out of bodice and interlining, which I'm going to do out of a black broadcloth cotton fabric that I really like. Unfortunately, that broadcloth is not available anymore and it makes me sad, and I don't know if Christine knows about that because she's the one that told me about it and she's going to be super sad when she finds that out too. Bummer. Anyway, so I'm gonna get some cutting done and we'll see. If I have extra time I will do flatlining, and if I don't I will do that tomorrow. Okay, this is my leftovers from the overskirt. Like, I had this much left over and I cut what they asked for. So I think I can get both the front and one of the, actually this is the side bodice. Yeah, this is not the center. Onto here. I am cutting off 6.5 inches over here. Actually I'm gonna cut off 6 because I'm gonna leave myself a hem allowance over here, maybe 5.5, I don't know, we'll see. That I think I can get on there just fine. I do have to remember that I'm cutting this one size bigger than what is on here. I'm pretty sure I can get this both out of here, and I might even be able to get another piece in here, and maybe one there, I'm not sure. I could probably get a lot of this bodice out of this one piece, which is great. This one is fairly straight across, so I just measured up 5.5 inches, and I'm going to cut at that line. If I need to cut it down more, that's fine. The other one, there's another piece, which is the center back, that has this part of the tail in it. That one's actually curved, so it's going to be a little bit more of a tricky, sticky situation. I did run my iron over these guys to flatten them out a little bit, just on the lowest possible setting, and it works a charm. So I'm going to fold this up and then lay all this out and see if I can, how much I can get out of this. I'm really excited. And just before we get into cutting, I wanted to let you know that this video is kindly sponsored by Skillshare. You know, when you're working on a creative project and you get stuck, or your juices aren't flowing, or there's something about it that's making you not want to move forward, or you're scared because that next thing is the thing that's kind of difficult, and you're like, oh, what if I mess that up? I find that sometimes going and looking at other creative endeavors, learning a new skill, looking at videos about things that aren't exactly in the same wheelhouse but are definitely other kind of creative processes is kind of a way to get yourself unstuck. It motivates you, it teaches you new and exciting things, and it gets your brain processing on something that isn't the same thing that you've been sort of stressing out about or not being able to push past. Skillshare has gotten me through, well, the last year of creative challenges by providing me with thousands and thousands of videos about different creative and professional topics that will help guide me and unstick me and solve little problems that I'm having, which is fantastic. In fact, I've been doing one recently, which is video for Instagram, which is something I've been wanting to get into. This one is taught by Halise Navarez, and she's a great instructor. One of the great things I like about Skillshare is how easy its site is to navigate. In fact, they serve up content for you based on your preferences. You can save classes and tell them exactly the kind of videos that you're looking for, which is super helpful and slightly more productive than just watching streaming sites all day. The first 1,000 people to use the link in my description will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership, and after that, it's only around $10 a month. Thank you for sponsoring this video, Skillshare. Okay, so what you just saw happen was me realize that the fabric had like slid off from itself. So the line at the fold wasn't perfectly straight and the line at the top was straight and then kind of veered off. It's perfectly on grain, it just needs to get pulled back. So I was sitting there matching the stripes. I also kind of had this epiphany that was like, I don't really want to pattern match this whole thing, but it would be nice if the like lighter colored stripes sort of continued. So I'm gonna go figure out how to do that and come back and then cut this. Okay, well, I watched a whole bunch of videos on plaid pattern matching, and there's curved seams on this, so it's already gonna get thrown completely off. So what I've decided to do was take that natural waistline, which is right here, and put that on a specific part of the pattern so that at least that place, that spot, is always the same. So that's how I'm gonna tell if this thing is properly pattern matched enough. So we'll see if this works out. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, so really I just have the back piece and the sleeves to cut out. So I do want to make sure the back piece gets cut out as like pattern matchy as possible, at least across the pleats, because that would be nice if those stripes lined up nicely. The sleeves just need to sort of vaguely match each other, I guess. So I don't know. I don't even know if that's even possible, so I'm not that worried about it. So I am going to figure out how much fabric I need, and then I'm going to steam the crap out of it, and then I'm going to cut these. So that's what's going to happen next. Okay, I'm about to go into steaming, but there was these little pieces of tape on the side of my fabric, and I had no idea what the deal was. And then I peeked, and it turns out that there are holes in this fabric. So I don't actually know if I cut enough. Like, there's one, there's another one right there, and it's not moth because I'm not sure we have that kind of moth here, but also there was tape on the side at those locations, which makes me think they knew about it, and they didn't sell this as a second. So I'm going to try to cut around it, and if it works out, great, and if it doesn't work out, then I will have to cut some more fabric and use this for smaller projects, which is annoying, but this is where we're at. Luckily, I have a ton of this. Okay, so I have this steamed the crap out of. For anyone who missed the Bustle overskirt video, I steamed the crap out of this wool, or any wool, because you don't wash wool, but you do want it to take out the shrink out of it you can get out of it, so I go over it 3 or 4 times with a bunch of steam. And now I am combing over this for any imperfections. I stupidly had removed the earlier tape, not knowing what it was, so I put down a little bit of washi tape, and I'm going to put pins in it too to hold the washi tape. And I'm just checking this on both sides to see if there's any other things that I have missed. Hopefully not. That one is awesomely placed, it's fine. That one is fine because of it's on the end. This one is real annoying, just real annoying. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go over this with a fine-tooth comb here and mark anything else I see, and then do my best to work around it. Okay, so I have this big piece down, and I checked it against the other big piece, and it looks like it's gonna match close enough. It's probably not perfect, but whatever. This guy's also down, and it does miss both of the spots that are a problem over here, so that's fantastic. That one, I'm gonna wait until this one is done so that I can match wherever these notches are and call that the matching spot, and then cut that one. So I'm gonna cut these out and then go deal with that. I thought I would show you how this went down. Hopefully this is visible. And there's a mark right there, which is where in the pattern that notch is. And this one has a corresponding sketch. So now I'm just sort of lining these up so that hopefully it's vaguely matchy. If it comes close, I'll be pretty happy. Alrighty, so all of these are cut out, which is fantastic. And I have this giant roll of black cotton broadcloth. It's like canvas light. It's a very flexible fabric, but it's very twilly and well made. It's not crazy thick, but it is also not thin. So I think broadcloth is the word we're using. Thanks to Christine for the suggestion on just buying a giant roll of this. I have it forever at this point. Anyway, I'm going to figure out how much of this I need for lining, no, interlining, and then cut this out. Alright, this is a bit ridiculous because I have 4 pieces that need to be done. This one stops here, so it's not the whole bottom. This one also looks like it has a whole bottom, but interlining stops here. And then that guy, so they're all pretty twee. This is the only big one, so I'm gonna cut the fabric there, which is significantly less than, again, what they call for. Although, to be fair, this is 60-inch, and maybe they just don't assume that. So, cool. Anyway, I will have a ton left over from this, too. Alright, this bad boy has been washed and dried, pre-shrunk down, and I'm gonna iron it out. It is 3 o'clock in the morning though, so I think I'm gonna wait to cut it till tomorrow because cutting while fresh is always a good idea. Okay, so I have come to the conclusion that if I'm going to have a lining, which I think I have to because there's a collar and the sleeves need to be lined, and then if you're gonna do that, you might as well do the inside pieces. Anyway, because these pieces are cut slightly larger to accommodate me wanting to make it a size bigger, it's easier if I just cut the thing now. So I'm going to use this pilly linen. There, it's not linen, it's cotton. Hi, I can use words. But this side of it, no, maybe it's less pilly. I don't know. Do you see it's pilly or not? I don't know. It's slightly less pilly on this side. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to cut my lining out of this pilly linen. Also, it said you needed like 4.5 yards of lining in the same way you needed 4.5 yards of the material. I'm not going to line the tail part at all, I think. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. So that means I don't need that much. So I have all this extra pilly stuff for later. Also, fun times. Okay, so I'm going to go chop chop. Okay, I have created a nightmare scenario where I have just like pieces out and about and they're not connected to themselves, their partners, or the pattern piece that goes with them. Fun times. Okay, so I'm going to organize these. Luckily there's only like, 5 pieces or something. It's not that bad. So I'm going to organize these and then I'm going to go ahead and flat line them, which is the next part of the process. Sometimes people ask me what flat lining is. For anyone who doesn't know, a flat lining process is when you basically cut out your fashion fabric, so the outside fabric, but then you cut out another piece of fabric, and most of the time it is a like sturdier or stiffer fabric, but not always. Sometimes it's just that you need more body. So you cut out another copy of it and you essentially attach them to one another. And by doing that, like you essentially make them into one piece. Like you sew them all the way around the edges so that they are one piece. I use like somewhere between a regular stitch and a basting stitch, and I do them sort of individual lines separately so that you can always scooch the fabric if you need to. And you want to create them, you want to bond them together so that they are then treated as one piece of fabric, and it essentially gives that piece of fabric more sturdiness, more body. It's a great idea with this wool because the wool is very stretchy, it is very moldy. It will definitely not like mold like fungus, but like it will mold to your body, which sounds great, except when you stretch it out too much and then you're like, oh god, what happened, because you put like something underneath that you didn't want stretched out. So this will actually help sort of maintain the integrity of that wool. So I'm pretty excited about that. I am only flatlining the body part, so like on here it would be this part, and then in the back the flat lining only comes down to where like the body stops essentially before this starts, so not the tail section. So this doesn't get flatlined. This is also not getting lined. In the instructions, I think they do want you to line this thing. I'm not doing that because I am using this beautiful wool and I don't need to. So I am only going to use a lining that just barely covers the flat lining. Okay, so we are at the point at which I'm going to take this lady off and I'm going to measure all the boning because I forgot to check whether or not I had the right amount of boning at the right sizes in order to bone this bad boy. Rookie mistake. So learn from Noelle on that one. Order your boning early. As soon as you make your mock-up, you can measure for your boning because those are going to be the same. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and also I'm going to transfer all the markings that I have for the darts, and I want to draw in the waistline and stuff like that so that I make sure that everything's sitting right. So I'm going to do all of that, and then we can get to sewing finally. Okay, I have made notes of all of the measurements that I need for boning. This last one is a spiral steel, so that's a thing. Luckily, I have made a Notion database that tells me all of the boning that I have. I used to have a thing on my phone that told me all the boning I have, but now I made a database. So I have learned that I actually have all of these bones. Just a reminder, if you do something like this, that when you take your bones out, in order to use them, that you have to update your database. This news is great news, and it's the best news I've had all day. I've had a really weird day today, like totally bizarre. I had to like scream into the void of Instagram. People keep trying to get me to pass messages, take things and mail to other costubers that I am friends with, like Bernadette, other people, whatever, and they want access to them. And they keep coming to me like I'm that person's secretary, and I'm like, no, you have to stop. So I put out a disclaimer about that pretty early in my day, and I had a very lovely 20 questions chat with my friend Vivian, who is a fresh Frippery, and she is going to be on this channel sometime in April. I'm filming out into April right now for 20 questions. I have that many, so yay. So she's gonna be on, and I had a lovely 3-hour chat with her today, which was really cool. And then I found out that Clusterfrock, Megan, who I don't actually know, but she's on Instagram as Clusterfrock for anyone who doesn't know this but knows her. She had a apartment fire, so the whole apartment building went down. I don't know how it was caused, so anyway, she lost all of her stuff. She lost her car. She lost, I think she actually lost 2 cars, but most importantly, she lost her kitty. So the whole thing is devastating, and for those of you who don't know, I have talked about it on my channel before. I don't have any idea what video it's in, but I had an apartment burned down and I lost my 3 cats at some point about 13 years ago. It's coming up on 14 years. But like literally I saw that and I was actually fine until I went on Instagram to tell people, hey, this happened, there's a GoFundMe, like help her out. She asked for like $5,000 in her GoFundMe, and I'm like, that's not even close to what she's gonna need, because she has to replace 2 cars and all of her things, and like she lost her cat, and trust me, I've been there. That process of, I'm still crying about it. Like I still am. It's trauma, it's PTSD. The second I had to ask for help of people, I started bawling. It was awful. So I will link the GoFundMe down below if you want to add to it, if it's still live when this video goes live, but which I think it should be. But yeah, so it's really sad. I've had this happen. I know how it is. It is a giant slash to the gut that you take, and then it is 1 million tiny paper cuts forever. Like today, I got a paper cut because I had to see it happen to somebody else, and I know what state she's in. She's probably really numb right now, and that's where I was. And you think you're like mourning and grieving, you're not anywhere near what's gonna happen. Like I know what's coming for her, and I am so lucky that I had the people around me who I had, who took care of me, who, like, people came over and did the coolest things that I didn't even understand at the time. Like someone came over and brought me an entirely new set of towels, and I was like, thanks for this weird, first of all, I didn't even consider the fact that I didn't have towels anymore. Like that hadn't even occurred to me. Also, towels are weirdly expensive, but like it's just these little gestures that people just think of and do for you and handle for you that like make the thing not as awful. And so she can use all the help she can get. Just trust me. Money is the last thing that is going to be of concern to her, but it has to be the first thing that's of concern to her. She should be grieving. She should be doing all the things that she's not going to have the ability to do because she lost all of her things and she has to get her life together, and that takes like so much longer than people think it does. So I will leave that down below. Anyway, it's been a bizarre day. So this is a tangent. So when I found out that I have all of the boning that I need, I was like, win! I will take it! I will take it! It's technically actually tomorrow because it's after midnight. Of course it is. But my days, when it's Friday for Noel, it's Friday for Noel from 2 p.m. when I wake up until 5 or 6 a.m. when I go to sleep. So that's my Friday. I don't flip the clock like that. So yeah, anyway, I'm super hyped about this boning thing, and tiny wins, friends, tiny wins. Okay, so we are flatlined and we're gonna do some marking. So as you can see, this is one piece. I did not sew the bottom. I don't really have a good reason for on this piece for not doing it. On the other pieces, I I basically like flatlined this down to here. So if I stitched across the bottom, it would be like visible on the outside, and I wouldn't want that, so I didn't do that part. But I didn't do it on this one either. Don't really know why. So now I'm gonna take my chalk pencil, which, by the way, this chalk pencil is the diggity bomb. It is like a mechanical pencil. It's not like one. It isn't a mechanical pencil. That is a chalk pencil, so it's a really fine tip. I love, love, love this, and you can buy chalk for it in a bunch of different colors, which I really like. These are in my Amazon store down below if you ever need something like this. Okay, here's one of the bad things about having a wool pressing mat is there's now wool over everything. Different colored wool. I'm sure some of this is cat hair. Anyway, I have darts in. This one turned out beautifully. Look at these stripes. This one didn't turn out as even. There's part of me that wants to rip this out. I might do it one time just so I can see if I can get it better, and then if I can't, I'll leave it. But I did press it, so I kind of feel bad about doing that now. But look how good this one looks. Okay, I'm gonna do it once just to try it, and I know I pressed it, and we'll just have to deal with that. Who has two thumbs and is now glad she took this out and redid it? That's me. Okay, so tonight, it is already 3:45 in the morning. I am gonna do a few of the seams and get this more or less together-ish. I don't know how this is gonna go. I'm gonna do what I can until I get too tired to do it, because that is the way to do things. Okay, major seams are done. I am pretty happy with the follow-through of the waist, not pattern matching, but kind of, so it like kind of follows. The back seam could have been slightly better, but it's fine. I don't know. I think it looks good. I'm into it. These shoulders are not basted, but also not stitched in, because I want to check that left shoulder and see if I need to adjust it a little bit or not. And if so, I will do that tomorrow. So these pleats haven't been put in, they're just sort of like hanging out in here. But I'm digging it so far, so I'm pretty happy with the way it's looking. And yeah, gonna call it a night because it is 5:11 in the morning. It's the next day, and I'm like doubly annoyed with myself for two reasons. One, this bothers me more than I would like it to. Like, I thought about it. I woke up in the middle of the night thinking about it. I was like, I would like to get that better. It's pretty close. It's really close, actually, but like, I should have fixed it. And I should have fixed it because I've already pinked it. I'll show you what the inside looks like right now and what I was doing last night. I realized I was like power sewing yesterday, and I was like, oh, I should show them what the inside looks like. I'm also annoyed with myself that I'm annoyed with this, because like, I could just let it go, but I'm not gonna. So I'm gonna rip out the back seam and fix it. So it's just like slightly off, and I was like trying to match it. Like, you can see it's way better here. It's just, it's the center back seam, so it's really annoying. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it any better, but I'm going to unpick it and give it a whirl. Here's the inside. I have been pressing seams as I go, press them flat and then press them open. I've also been pinking all the edges so you can see all the pinkness. This has consequences when I need to resew this. The line that I sewed on will be very evident to me when I sew it again, so that's not actually going to be the issue. Like, it's not the measurement distance that's going to cause me problems. It's just that the lineup of it is going to be a little bit harder to deal with. I think what I'm going to do is try to get it as closely matched as I can and then hand baste it shut and then go ahead and sew it so that I know it's in the right spot. Here is another consequence of pinking where you find this all over your floor and stuff for the near future. It has occurred to me that people might not know what pinking is. Do you see this zigzagged edge sort of situation that has been going on here? This helps your fabric not fray because it can fray down essentially to the bottom of each one of these little triangles that it creates, but it can't really go farther than that. So it makes sure that you don't get too much fraying in anything. It's a like vintage way of doing it. You get some scissors that look like this, called pinking shears, and you just cut, and that happens. I just cut the very edge, but there are many different kinds of shapes you can pink. I use the triangles for stuff like this, but there's also scallops and various other things. The triangles are the most common. My husband just delivered this to me. It is 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but to be fair, we just woke up, so yeah, yum. I'm gonna go leave this room, eat this, and then come back. All right, so it's 5, and I have something to show you, which I'm very excited about. It's light out still. I'm usually a person who really likes it when it gets dark early. This year, though, I'm like, no, I would like more light. I think it's because I'm trapped inside all day, or I sleep all day, and then I'm trapped inside for the most part. I mean, I do go out and like walk and stuff, but like, yay, it would be better to have more light now. I'm also excited because Zoe and Alfie are having a baby, and I have been watching Zoe and Alfie since they were like teenagers. So if you don't know who they are very famous vloggers. I mean, they vlog like I do, but they just vlog their life. And Zoe was one of the very first people who did YouTube, who did makeup channels, and I had a makeup channel, so I love her. She's so cute. In the UK, they're very, very famous. And so, anyway, they just announced, they both put up pregnancy videos today. I'm like, oh, that's great. Like, I'm so glad that they're still together, and like, everything's good with them, and like, it's so rare these days, so. Anyway, I'm counting my blessings. I am most of the way through ripping this apart. I'm, once again learning that lesson that, like, just do it right the first time. Just spend the time to do it right the first time. So, yep, this is a lesson we all need to know. Slow down, you move too fast. Yeah, okay. Oh, I gotta change my battery. Okay, it's probably really hard to tell from this perspective since it's wobbly because it just pins in right now, but I think this is actually way better. So I'm gonna base this by hand and then sew it, and hopefully I'll be more satisfied. And I will not wake up in the middle of the night with this one. Okay, that's hand basted in. It's way better. I'm into it. Okay, so I'm just gonna go sew this and then move on with my life. Yes, my precious. It is so much better and not going to haunt me. Oh, yes. I love it. These pleats are not in, by the way, so they will look different. Anyway, I'm very excited about this. Okay, so I think it's probably a good time to talk about, like, prioritization and how to choose, like, what is important and what you want to focus on, and, like, what's worth ripping out and fixing and what isn't. So I'm not trying to pattern match. I'm trying to get it to be vaguely close. I would love the waistline to flow around, and it does, and that's exciting. The dart was totally worth me taking back out and putting back in. The center back was, but like there's curb seams on this. I'm not worried about the shoulder seam. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff that I'm like, man, don't care. So it's good to like pick your battles when you have to choose what you want to focus on. There are things that will be glaringly obvious, you should fix those. And the things that won't, like a center back seam is, when it's slightly off, like if it was completely off, I'd be like, whatever. The fact that it was only slightly off is actually the most annoying thing. So yeah, I was like, no, that's got to get fixed. And that dart was also slightly off. So I'm like, yeah, there's 4 darts and 3 of them are perfect, and this one's, no, that one's got to go. So I would say pick your battles. I would also say there's a lesson here in do it right the first time. Like, I know what I'm supposed to do there. I know that I'm supposed to pin it, check it, baste it, check it, and then sew it. And I didn't do that because I got like kind of ballsy after a lot of the darts went okay. And I was checking it. I thought it was, but I thought it was gonna line up. It just didn't. So, but there's all sorts of other things on here that I'm like, good enough. Not gonna worry about it. So I think it is really important to like fix the things that are going to annoy you and make them right, and then also figure out some stuff that's okay to let it slide. You know, it's like when you're cleaning your house. Like there are things that you're like, no, that has to be clean. And then there are things you're like, I could lightly vacuum and it would be fine. So there's a mentality to that. So I definitely think that like healthy boundaries are appropriate when dealing with sewing things too. Okay, this is the worst thing I could possibly show you to do. But, because I have a t-shirt on and no corset and whatever, and so this, I mean, I can squish myself into this the way it should be. But more so, I pulled the back down, which might indicate that I might want a waist tape. But the shoulder thing kind of isn't happening right now. So I'm trying to stand like I would stand in a corset. I guess I don't need to worry about it. It would be this shoulder, and it was popping up like quite a bit. So I'm gonna let it ride, I guess, and I'll come back and regret this and have to fix it later, and I'll keep checking it for sure. So, but I'm gonna leave it for now, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I should go. These are sewn at 3.5 millimeters instead of the 2 millimeters everything else is sewn at. I don't know that that matters that much. It looks fine to me. So I might, part of me is like, don't go sew it in because you might have to pick it out and resew it. I might stitch in like to where I think I would have to snip it at 2 so that at least that shoulder seam is good. And then also do the other one at 2 to at least enforce it in case I like forget to go back and redo it. But it is in there, so. And it does seem to be holding itself down just fine, even when it's open and freely able to move if it wants to. So I think the weight is helping, the weight of the wool. All right, well, cool beans. I guess I'm just gonna carry on with my life. So I went to like look at the collar, and this piece is correct. And this piece is so weird. Like, I don't even know what happened. Like, they were cut out together, like, right on top of each other. It's just backwards. I don't even know what happened here. Okay, I guess I'm gonna go cut another collar piece. Here's what happened. I did the fold on the wrong side. Like, the fold, it should have been here, so it would curve the, yeah. So, hey, pay attention to things like that's where the fold goes, because that turns out that actually matters. It's time to bone. Okay, so it is in fact time to bone. I tried to avoid that by making the collar. Turns out that doesn't take long enough to make me actually feel like fulfilled by the avoiding of the boning. So I need to pull out all the boning that I'm going to need, which I'm going to do right now, and then make casing for it, and then hand sew it into all the boning channels, and that takes me for friggin' ever. Fun times. I will try to give you a little time lapse of maybe one of them here, and then I will carry on and listen to my audiobook. I need a boning holder roll thing. I need some way that does not require me to, every time I have to touch these things, measure them all to figure out what I'm doing here. So I think at some point very soon I'm going to make, you know, people make like needle rolls, or I have one for my pens, a pen roll. I'm going to make a boning roll. So expect that video soon. Cool, I just recorded a bunch of stuff and then it didn't record. Alright, so let's talk about bone casings real quick. I'll show you how I do it. It's pretty simple. I just pinked the edges of a piece of cloth that is, yeah, a little bit over 1 inch wide, and then I folded over the ends so that they're just slightly longer than the boning. And then I slide the boning under the edge and fold this guy in half with the boning right up against the fold. And I will pin it, but I won't pin it like a lot, maybe 4 or so pins in here. Maybe 3, I don't know, just enough to hold it. Just enough to hold it in place while I do a zipper foot situation to go ahead and get this snug as a bug in here. So let me pin this real quick. Cool beans. And what you will end up with once you zipper foot it is a piece like so, with a seam down the side there, which is cool. So then obviously you can see I just pink it, and then I press it so that this is underneath, and this is my bone casing. Okay, all done. This white is because the tips of the boning have plastic dip essentially on the ends of them, and when you iron them, it melts. It's not a problem. It's not bad. I've done this and opened it up and checked it afterwards. It's fine. It's not gonna hurt anybody. So it's all good. So I'm gonna sew these in, and this is my least favorite part of any single bustle gown, so I'm gonna go do this. 7 bones in, and boy, howdy do my hands hurt. Each one of these takes me somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. I don't know why I'm so freaking slow. I had one that was like 15 minutes and that was great, but I have 3 more to do. Just giving you a progress update. I'm gonna get those done tonight though. That's happening. Boning is in. I have now completed 4 hours of hand sewing. I think I might call it a night because I'm friggin' tired at this point. Whoo doggies! Was that a mess? I mean, they're in, they look good, I'm proud of them, but also, oh, I hate putting in boning. It's just awkward, my hands hurt, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop complaining and move on to the next step. Okay, it's tomorrow, great. Okay, so I have to make the lining, attach the collar, make the sleeves, attach the sleeves, put the lining in, make the pleats and sew them down, and then put the buttons on and we're done. It's just so easy. Do we think I can do that in today? Probably not, but I'm gonna do as much as I humanly can. The problem with today is that my husband really wants to go over the hill, and when I say over the hill, I mean we pop over the Santa Cruz Mountains to Santa Cruz to go get our favorite restaurant's food. Oh God, I want that. So I'm gonna go, which means it's gonna eat up like 3 hours of my day. But that's okay. I would really like to get this done by tomorrow, so I'm going to make every effort possible to do that and get as much done today as possible to make that happen. Because I know the buttonhole day is always my biggest stressor, and I'm like, also I have to learn how to make buttonholes on this machine, which I have never done before, so cool. What I'm hoping is that this machine makes buttonholes really easy. So I'm gonna have to do some practice ones. So I want to give myself plenty of time to do practice ones and like learn, read the manual, do the stuff. So we'll see how it goes. I am pumped because this machine is making every part of my sewing so much better. People keep asking me about it and if I like my new machine. Yes, Laszlo is my new boyfriend. For people who didn't see, it's a Janome Continental M7. This is not a sponsored video, although I am a Janome ambassador, so I guess like all videos are sponsored. All my sewing is sponsored, essentially. I love this machine. It does a couple things that I'm like, what? To? Like, when it tells you when you're about to run out of bobbin thread, which like on the whole, I'm like, oh my God, thank you. Because I can't tell you how many hems I've sewn like 4 inches of regular thread and then it ran out of bobbin and I did the entire hem without even noticing. Cool. This one will tell you, except it tells you when it's like 12 inches from the end of the thread, and if you only have a couple more inches to go and you want to play thread chicken, it won't let you because it tries to tell you every single stitch. So you have to go into the menu and like turn the sensor off so that it will, you know, let you continue sewing, and then you have to remember to go turn it back on for the next. So it's kind of a pain in the butt for that, but the sensor is really nice. I love when the top thread snaps and it goes, hey, you have to rethread your machine. And I'm like, yeah, I got that one. Thanks. It's very funny. I am really hyped to try out all the little features and the little stitches and stuff on this. I have done some of them and they've been excellent. I'm hoping that the buttonholes are amazing, so we'll have to see. I have this collar situation pinned on. I know what a squidge these are. I'm just gonna baste it ahead of time. This is the basting to baste the layers of the collar together, and now I'm going to baste it onto this thing before I sew it. Just because I know how it be, and I'm gonna take the time to do this one right instead of doing it twice. Okay, we have a collar here that is lined in some pilly fabric and a whole pilly fabric worth of lining. So it's sleeve time now. I'm gonna take a wee breaky before I have to go sew 4 sleeves together, I guess, because you have 2 sleeves and 2 linings, and then attempt the sleeving. If I get the sleeving done today, I'll be pretty pumped. Okay, I have 1 sleeve made. I have the other sleeve made, but I need to like put them together, and I need to baste this guy together. Man, the offset on this is a lot. It's crazy. Anyway, I took a break from that because it was making me nuts, and this is not going to be the place to do that. I decided to try the buttonholer out. Who doggies, is this so easy? Alright, here's my first one. It does exactly fit my button. I'll show you more about that in just a second. You actually stick a button in it and it just makes it to whatever size your button is. It's crazy. This is another one that I wanted to see that it exactly went where I wanted it to go. So I drew some lines just to see if it would basically do what I told it to do, and it did. This is like the antique button style. So it's got less like stitches per inch basically, but it's really cool too. So if you don't want like a hardy buttonhole, you can have this kind of, I'm going to put a hardy buttonhole in because, yeah, I like a hardy buttonhole. you can control, I'm going to go over here and show you guys. Look at this crazy foot. Look at it. It's insane. All right, so you stick the button back here so it knows how far to go back. And then just put the front of this down where your mark is basically. And you have to pull this thing down so it knows when to stop. And you can hit this button and it just makes a buttonhole for you. I'm like, okay, that's pretty badass. Like, wow. So I went to this like how to do it your like cheating style. So you can do this antique style here. There's different kinds, but you can also go in here and there's all these different kinds of buttonholes to choose from. Like, wow. I'm so impressed. I am so impressed, and I fear buttonholes less. So this one is the width of the hole, I think. Yeah. This one is the stitch density. No, this is the width of the entire thing. So if you need the whole thing to be wider, the stitches can get wired, and this is like stitch density, so you can turn that up or down if you want. This thing is incredible. I love this machine. BT Dubs, I have been using this sleeve board, which is very useful for pressing seams like this open. It's also super useful for doing like the cuff edge here. So you can iron on the end of that board right there and like get this nice and crisp. So that's a thing. I'm also trying to figure out what kind of buttons I should use. I could try and make fabric covered buttons out of this fabric and just have either all the same colored buttons and like try to use scraps in a way that works, because I do have button molds. I don't actually know if I have enough to do this whole thing, but I could find out. I also have these like pre-made buttons, which makes me sort of attracted to them. They're like this not super high gloss, but definitely whatever satiny black on here, which they kind of disappear, so that's great. I can also use that skirt fabric there to make more fabric covered buttons. So I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do. It's probably gonna be the black, but we'll see. Alright, well I did not get the sleeves on. It is now 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. I'm not doing sleeves tonight, but they're all done. They're basted together, like it's all ready to go on. So tomorrow I need to get the sleeves on, get the lining in, tack the pleats, do the buttonholes, figure out buttons, figure out if I want to like attach the buttons right away. I don't know, the buttons may take a while. They may take longer than this video, I'm not sure. Largely because I have to figure out what I want to do and if I have the right molds for them and stuff, because that is not something I ordered. So, but I can still call this like done. There's definitely going to be like this little group of things that has to happen at the end that's largely called closures, like my skirt. My overskirt doesn't have a closure on it. What else doesn't have? I'm still fringing it. It's starting to look really good though, and it doesn't have the back ribbon in that holds the back up and together. So I needed to fringe that first before I could do that. So, yeah, I'm going to need to do a whole bunch of like random closure stuff at the end. So if the buttons don't get on, I'm not gonna fret about it, but getting pretty close to getting done. So I'm really excited. All right, I'll be back tomorrow to do those things. See you then. I realize I haven't been giving you guys any serotonin, so let's do that. We've done this part, we've done this part, we've done this part, and we're like most of the way through this. So we're gonna try to get that done Let me put on buttons so we can cross that one off without having to not account for the other one. Hi. I have no idea what's going on with my hair. I look like a boy. Okay, that's fine. I can look like a boy. Alright, I'm here in my jacket and I'm going to mark my shoulder points because I want to do the scary and hack the shoulders out of this, just like I did with my mock-up. So I have, this is going to be terrifying for some of you, the piece that I cut off of the mock-up. I'm literally going to mark my shoulder point so I know where that is, line this baby up, and just cut it. And pray for the best. So I'm going to go mark my shoulder point, and then I'm going to come back and you guys can witness the pain. Okay, I have marked them for both. The left shoulder here is just a little bit farther up, and that sort of makes sense to me. And nobody's ever even. I am going to cut these rather even, so I'm not going to mess with it. I know that this piece here came from the very front part of the sleeve and it never crossed into this back piece here. And I was smart enough at the time to write an arrow on it. So I know that it goes just about like this. And what I'm doing is making sure that this shoulder point sort of matches up to the high point of this, which it does, and that it's about, you know, a half an inch or so away, which it is. It's a little bit more than a half an inch, it's probably 5/8 there. And that's okay. I'm not stressed out about it. I did say when I tried it on I could have cut these a little bit more, so I might cut a little bit more out of this, and I'm just gonna go ahead and take a chunk out here. So yeah, wish me luck. Okay, this is possibly the scariest filming setup I've ever had because you guys, wow, my hair got even weirder. It's up, you guys are up on my stool. I don't mean poops. This is not an exact science. Also, it's not the scariest thing in the world. I mean, it kind of is, but it also kind of isn't. Just gonna cut. Oh god, everything's fine. You will hit a barrier, which is the seam line. And we're good. And it, like, just cut out a little bit of extra, like I said I was going to. It's all pretty good. So yeah, new sleeve head. I might clean this up a little bit. I'm gonna measure this and see how big it is. It is a little bit more than 5/8. I'm gonna leave it. I think it's fine. It's gonna be fine. So yeah, I'm gonna just clean this area up a little bit on the table when I'm done. I have a little bit of extras sticking out on all the seams anyway, so it's all good. I might make this more gradiated. And then we're golden. So I'm gonna go do the other side and I'll be back with that. Alright, the second one is done, and a great way to check how this went is to lay them on top of each other, and they are very good images of each other. So that makes me happy. They're pretty even, feeling good. Okay, I'm gonna go put gathering threads into these sleeves. I have decided that the sleeves are gonna get done right. Hi, I'm watching Adam Savage videos. By the way, guys, Tested is a great channel. If you like making stuff, he's building props and all sorts of stuff. I actually like watching his tool tips and his workshop like improvement videos are great. Anyway, so I'm gonna go put gathering threads into here. I'm going to put these guys in. I'm going to baste them, try it on, and then I might just hand stitch it in actually. We'll see. Right, first sleeve is on. Everything went well. It fits well. It went into the hole well. Yeah, you have good range of motion. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm gonna do the other one. You would think I know how to do this. I hand basted it in and then I hand sewed it in. I did not love that. I'm not that into it, but I'm gonna keep doing it, so I'm gonna do it for the other one now. We have sleeves. They are looking pretty good. I am pleased with them. I have good range of motion. I also have like a t-shirt and a normal bra on, so it's like not proper at this point, but feeling good. All right, so I'm gonna attach the lining. I will not attach the lining from the section where the tail is back. Okay, so I cut the lining in the back, like it comes down to exactly where this meets, and then it basically just carries on here instead of lining these tails, because I don't need to do that. It does mean that later I will have to figure out if I want to put a hem on these, if I want to fringe them, like what I want to do with it. So I'm still pondering my choices with that one. So that's what's happening. So there's going to be a section like under here where it's actually going to be like open for a while, and that will actually let me flip this inside out significantly easier. Anyway, so having that open will let me flip everything inside out a lot easier, so that works out for me really well. You can also do it through the armhole. I don't love doing that, especially with really thick fabrics with really long tails, so I'm gonna flip it there and see how that goes. Alright, so I'm gonna try to get this lining in tonight, and then we just have to tack down the tails, and there will be a button situation that has to happen, and this hem situation. I think I'm going to end this video before that stuff's done. Still calling the bodice basically done, because I feel like I need to think about the button situation a little bit, and I need to make a bunch of samples and stuff, so I'm going to do that and ponder that one a little bit, and I don't want to feel rushed about it. So anyway, I'm going to get the majority of this done. There's always a list of like closures and magic things that make it magical that happen at the very end. So I'm feeling good about it though. Okay, how I like to attach linings is to go ahead and do it on the mannequin. So I can match up center back points, I pull the sleeves through, and then I can come match these points all up. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin it all the way around right now so that it's ready to go, and then yeah, get this lining in. All right, peeps. Anybody notice anything that I didn't do on here? Don't be like Noelle. I didn't put the darts in on the lining. Okay, so I'm gonna put the darts in, and then we're gonna redo this whole thing and make it pinned in. Cool. I was like, why is this so floppy? Like, why doesn't it fit right? Oh, it's not the same shape at all, is it? Okay. Okay, it's sewn in, and I'm just checking to see if anything went catastrophically wrong. I caught like I think once or twice something like this where it was going catastrophically wrong, and I'm like, no, go back over here. It's because it basically hit like right near the boning, and so I tried to push off going the wrong direction. I'm like, no, go do that. But I'm just checking it over to make sure it's all good, and then I need to clip all the seams and turn it. I'm also gonna pink all these edges, so once this is done, it can never be redone. So I hope it's okay. Looks alright. I'm gonna keep going. Okay, I'm a girl who has a bodice with a lining in. I need to do a lot of manipulation and pressing and stuff to this, which I will sit around for the next like hour doing. So that should be fun. And then I just need to get these pleats in. So those are super easy. I've showed you how to do those in the last video. My mannequin has gotten real low. She just started like, boo. I have this side and the center one in and done. This side is not done, as you can tell. It's way more of a mess than this side is. So I need to stitch that in tomorrow, but it's like, I don't know, 5:30 in the morning. So I'm gonna hit the hay and just finish tacking out that last thing in tomorrow and finish this bad boy up for this video. All right, this thing failed on here, so I woke up to, it's like cracked. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a crack in there. So I got one of these, which is brass, and tightened the crap down, and it's metal, so hopefully it's better. Meanwhile, I have a dead Victorian lady on my table here because I did finish, so I'm gonna go ahead and put her back on there and take some photos. Okay, I think I'm done. I have completed the last part of sewing in the pleat. I think it looks really great. I keep looking at it because I'm like, wow, she's really pretty. There's still some stuff left to be done on this bodice, but I'm calling it for this video, and for now I'm gonna figure out the buttons, and I need to figure out the hem situation on the back and hand tack in the armholes, so those are things that need to get done. But as far as main construction sewing is concerned, I feel like I'm finished and I'm pretty happy with her. So let me give you a little overview of what she looks like, and you'll be right back. This is the front of her. And here is the back, which I'm very happy with. Turned out really great. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave this video here. I hope you guys had a great week. I imagine that the videos will be less intense going forward on this because skirts are a lot easier. I have some possible applique to take care of that might be happening. There is going to be a possible magic video where I do all the like little things that make the magic happen, all the closures and whatever, so that might happen. What else? Oh, a wig video. I got a wig for Merida, so we're gonna see how that goes. I think I have to spend an hour and a half fluffing this thing, so if I do, maybe we'll have a video that's just chats while I go through the fluff of it. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you guys next time with another video. Bye guys!